Hello, everyone. Thank you to a new edition of our podcast, To Your New Joyous Life. Today, my guest is Tammy Waldron. And I'm very excited to have Tammy on today because she's going to give us a new perspective on how to handle some aspects of our life. So, Tammy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so people know where you're coming from?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on your podcast and
Thank
to
you.
talk to you and your audience. So a little bit about me is that I have always been a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of growth and development. And that's actually led through different aspects of my life. So I have a master's of education and I work in higher education for over 20 years, leading professional development and doing curriculum development work. But it's also been like a really strong passion in my life, just learning. So I've always been a seeker of knowledge and ways to help personally develop myself for my whole life. I remember as a kid, I would listen to those audio tapes of meditation, and I just wanted to always find inner peace and learn and grow. And so I had two tracks of life. One was academic and one was personal development. And in my business, I've been able to marry the two of them together. So I help people to develop in their person and get in touch with their intuition and their true selves so they can lead life and live life in a, like you say, in a joyous way, aligned to their passions, their purpose, their values, their vision.
Right.
In the world, like we get really distracted with climbing the ladder and getting all of these acknowledgments, but sometimes they actually don't align or really fulfill us inside. And so it really needs to go both ways. We can really be fulfilled inside and do amazing work in the world.
Exactly. And I'm so glad to hear you were a teacher as well. So was I. So for all our disenchanted teachers out there, listen up. Okay. So
Skill set. It's a great skill set that can get
yes,
you just so many things and maybe even into teaching, like I'm teaching. So just not in a classroom, in a traditional classroom.
that's correct. I'm doing the same thing. And now it's coaching, right? So we
Yeah.
educate our clients rather than teach, but it's really the same thing.
Yes.
Yes. So you work a lot with intuition, I understand. How do you define intuition in the context of healing?
Yes. So I relate it to our intuition. When we are connected and listening to our intuition, we're connecting to whatever it's called lots of things: source, universal, life force, God, our true self, our higher self. Um, we are connecting to that information, to that energy. And when we're able to pause and listen and connect to that, it can give us wisdom far greater, far beyond what our mind can do, what our intellect can do. So it's really tapping into deep wisdom, deep intuition.
Wonderful. Thank you. So you make a distinction in your work between clairvoyance, clairsentience, and clairrecognizance. Would you like to take a moment to explain those?
Yes. I don't usually use the word clairs, but people talk about clairs. And so in the work that I do, we all have natural gifts. We all have intuition, regardless of if we have a spiritual practice or not. You don't have to be religious to have intuition. It's like built into our human bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these gifts. And some people have different gifts and other people have other ones. And so the gifts are being able to see. So a seer with their eyes closed is somebody who like can get visions that come to them and they live where your daydreams live. And so some people can imagine what their future might be, or just be able to really see their dreams and what they want to manifest and bring into their lives. I would say all people are feelers. We all feel things, and our intuition speaks a lot of the times through feelings. People might feel something in their gut. Like we even use words in the language that, what is your gut saying? Or I got this gut feeling. And so that's another one. Hearing is like getting being able to have information just kind of popping into your head, kind of like voices in your head that tell you information or things that you want to know. And then, oh, what's the other one? I forget. I don't have
Which
my
one?
sheet.
We had clairvoyance. Oh, you also had clairaudience.
Yes. And so that's, there's also just this deep sense of knowing. It's not that you really hear an answer in your head, you just know in your body what is true. And so those are the different gifts and how they can show up in your life. And it's I think really good, because if you haven't had a chance to sit down and pause and think about how your intuition talks to you, it's good to, like, have some quiet time and journal and really think about how it shows up for you and see which one is maybe prominent for you.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, what techniques do you use to enhance your intuitive abilities when practicing?
Say that again.
Yes. What techniques do you use to enhance your intuitive abilities when practicing?
Yeah. So the important thing is to pause and start to pay attention to how your intuition is talking to you. And what I do to practice that is I pause and I pay attention to how I'm feeling, if anything's popping into my head. And then I practice theta healing. So that's my business, is a technique called theta healing that helps us to theta
Yes.
healing.
And it's a technique called what?
Theta healing.
Yeah.
Yep. And it helps us to grow in our intuition. And it also helps us to get things that are blocking it or making it really muddy or messy. So our intuition talks to us through our feelings, but so do our triggers, so do our trauma. And so being able to differentiate and discern between intuition and feelings can be really, really hard at first. And so theta healing is an excellent tool and technique that helps to identify the things that are getting in the way for you, that's blocking you or holding you back, and release them. And once you start to release those things, you start to really get the sense of what it feels like. So my daily practices are getting quiet, being in a quiet space. I go on walking meditations every day and just listen and let my mind just bring answers in and thoughts in, which is, our minds are really great too. But when we work together with our intuition, it's really powerful. So I'll be really thinking. There's a difference between our thinking brain and our intuitive sense. So I'll be thinking about something, and I'll just, okay, I'm going to put it on the shelf. I can't find an answer to it. And I'll go for a walk, go for a swim, or just get quiet and not think about it. And oftentimes new, different, innovative thoughts and perspectives on that will just pop into my head. That's intuition. And then you can, lean in on what it's telling you to do. And then I do practice theta healing on a regular basis. And then I teach people and work with people too. So as I'm working with people and teaching classes, it grows me as well.
Wonderful. So now you talked about being quiet or going for a swim or a walk. When you work with clients, how do you create a safe space for them to explore their intuitive insights within the theta healing?
Yeah. So I've gone on quite a journey myself. Like, what got me into all of this
Yes.
is my own things that were getting in the way. I was a seeker. I could connect to my intuition. I knew there was more. I knew I had a higher self and a passion and a purpose in the world. And I had a lot of trauma. I was
Mm-hmm.
adopted, and there was a lot of abandonment and not being worthy, plus all the women, all the stuff that society tells women to
Yep.
people please, put others first, like earning love, all of that was getting in the way and was leading me into really destructive relationships. And so that journey, I've
Mm-hmm.
gone through it myself. And that journey of learning and growing in the world through trials and tribulations, man, I understand. And so I come to helping people with no judgment and just an open curiosity and an open invitation for them to heal. And the technique is actually really efficient and gentle and loving. It's all about love, loving yourselves first, and
Mm-hmm.
then being able to help and love other people. And so that's the energy I bring to the space. And it just allows us to just let go, open up, and receive healings.
Wonderful. So, in what ways can clients be encouraged to trust their own intuition during the healing process?
Yeah, intuition is not linear. It's
Mm-hmm.
you gotta trust. I mean, trust is at the center of what intuition is about. You're going to get information that might not be logical or might be a different direction than you thought you were going to go. And so you kind of got to trust it. So maybe try it in places that are smaller, not big, giant decisions. But we're like, how do you usually do your decision making, right? Really start to map out that habit and then analyze it and give yourself an opportunity to pause and really think and get curious. Get curious and you have in your mind an answer or a way you think you expect or assume things are going to be. What if all of that actually wasn't true? What if there was something more?
Mm-hmm.
Put all of that aside and see what comes in and trust. And you just got to trust and step out and then watch how it comes together behind you because you can't foresee where you're going to go sometimes. And most of the time, actually, intuition just kind of it kind of whispers and falls in. And then after you're like, oh gosh, look, intuition led me into this path.
So, what kind of services do you provide for this type of healing,
Yep.
Tammy?
So I teach people how to do theta healing. It's a weekend class, typically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also getting on my schedule a weeknight class for people who work on the weekends. I try to avoid the work schedule. And then I also meet with people one-on-one, and I have a monthly healing circle that's free. It's on a Monday. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have the calendar link in the recording notes.
Yes, we will put how people can contact you under the podcast. Absolutely.
Yep.
Wonderful. So I have one more question because we don't always meet eye to eye, right? So how do you handle situations where your intuitive guidance and the client's intuition seem to differ?
Yeah. So that's such a good question because what happens is sometimes I can get caught up with my own things and can get in the way. And if that happens, sometimes I catch myself in leading with my own expectations or assumptions. And so I pull back. I pull back what I think is happening and I lean into what the client is saying. And oftentimes we're saying the same thing just from different directions. But we are each person is doing the healing. I'm just guiding them. We are healing ourselves, and we all have all of our answers inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are religious, then it's the work is happening between you and a higher power, or if you connect to nature or just to yourself, it's all the same. It's all the same thing. And so, the client knows best.
All right. And do you have a free workshop where people can get a taste of how it is that you work? We can
Yeah.
also put the link to that underneath the podcast.
Yep. Yep. I have a healing circle that's on Monday. It's once a month on Monday from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. And the Mondays vary, so it's not a set Monday of the month. Currently, that's how frequently I'm doing it. And so, yeah, we'll have a link so you can sign up for that. And in that, I lead people through the meditation process so that they can experience themselves and also what it's like to be a client, for me to be doing healing. And then it's a time to pause. It's a time to just listen to ourselves. And they're all different because it just depends on who's in the room and whatever comes in. And so it's just kind of spur of the moment. They're live. I don't record them just for the privacy and safety of who's in the group, because sometimes big things can come up. And so it's a safe space where we can learn and grow together.
That's wonderful. So as we're nearing our time together, Tammy, do you have any recommendations as far as a book or books go?
Yes. I love Brene Brown's work. Love her work. I've read all of her books multiple times along in my journey, which just helps you to really understand. It helped me understand myself. But her latest book, Atlas of the Heart, it goes through 80 something feelings and emotions. And so the important thing is that we have the capacity to name our emotions. If you can name them, you can understand them better. And just the act of understanding how you're feeling helps to process it so that it doesn't get compartmentalized and shoved into a bottle, which if you do that too long, the bottle's going to explode. And if that's your go-to, then you just have this cycle of stocking, and then exploding, and then you feel better, and then it stocks back up. We all have our strategies. But I love that book.
And so did you say the author was Renee or Brene Brown?
Brene Brown.
With a B.
With a B.
Okay, very good. Well, Tammy, this was very insightful. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope our listeners enjoyed it as well. And once again, they will be able to get in touch with you with the information we'll put underneath the podcast.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, and I wish you all the joy in the world.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
Create it.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
Thank
Until
you.
next time. Bye-bye.